Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
Need extra money for college? ISL Education Lending Scholarship Program provides $1,000 for college expenses. Registration is easy and no essay is required. Visit www.iowastudentloan.org/register to learn more. The scholarship is open to Iowa residents who are in high school and college students, as well as parents of those students. Register by November 30th for your chance at one of the 45 awards at www.iowastudentloan.org/register.
Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Hey y'all, welcome to I've Been Thinking. I'm your host, Elena Grace, and I'm here to talk to you today about something that I've been thinking about a lot. So this is an unusual episode for us, I guess, in the sense that this is literally something that I've just been kind of mulling over, and I'm going to do that too with you all here today. I've not researched this, because I always try to come into these with like research backing up any claims I make or whatever. I've not done any of that. And I think it's for a reason. First of all, I don't know how much research there would be to back this idea up. But also, I want to test out, I guess, going about episodes in this way. So anyway, without any further ado, today we are going to talk about hate or fear in the context of today's current events. Okay, so that might be a little vague for you. And I'm going to explain a little bit better where this came from. So I was thinking one day about how so many people, a lot of the times from older generations, we see them as racist and bigoted and blah, 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 and all of these things. And because they have those actions, and a lot of the time they are those things. But then they'll say, I don't care if you're white or black or whatever, I just don't like this, or I don't like whatever. And anyway, I was just thinking about that, and I thought to myself, I want to give those people a little grace. I want to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Not all of them. A lot of them are just horrible racist people or just horrible people. But some of them, I want to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, right? And it brought me to, I wonder how many of those people react to current events, etc., the way that they do, not because they have hearts full of hate, but because they're afraid and the energy of their fear is being redirected into anger rather than them having to, acknowledge that they are afraid, right? So, for example, a lot of, boomers and older generations, they come from a society, they were raised in a society where the status quo was respected. Like they had a strong status quo, and now they have fallen in to the status quo that they were raised to fall into, or so many of them have. And they see that being upended. They see the society that they know, the society that they have participated in, all of these things. They see that being upended in so many ways, and they're afraid of it, right? So they see protests and they say, oh, I don't care if you protest, just don't loot. Okay, whatever. Well, when people protested respectfully, you were mad about that too. And a lot of people look back and they say, yeah, that was a mistake. We should have listened the first time. Okay, that's great. Hindsight's 2020. But if you're, oh gosh, if you are more upset by potential changes in society, if you can't look at a system and that has, there are lots of systems that have been broken for a long time, right? If you can't look at a system like a police force and say, okay, yeah, there is some maybe corruption there is some whatever, there are some very racist people who have made it through. If you can't look at that and say, all right, maybe we need some reform, maybe we do need some changes being made, that's a problem. And that is those people being upset by potential changes to the status quo, right? Because they like the way things are. They're not being upset by it. They're not being affected by it. So they don't want to change. So my thought here is that a lot of these people are more scared of the effects that these things could have on them and upsetting, where they stand in society, in whatever, upsetting the culture that they are so inside of, that they are so reliant on, that they're so comfortable in. These people, they don't want to be uncomfortable. They are comfortable. They are content, but there's no growth in contentment. There's no growth when you're comfortable. You have to push boundaries always. And I don't know if y'all can tell, but I really didn't write any notes at all for this. I'm just like off the top of my head. Like I said, there's no growth from just being content to sit still. And so many of these people who speak out in anger, I think that they're just content to sit still and they don't care to see growth because it doesn't affect them. So they're not pushing for growth, right? And they're just afraid. They're afraid of where they would stand in the end. They're afraid of maybe what other people would think of them if they did push for growth, because that person might not want to, see their position change. All of these things, they're afraid. And it comes across as anger because, frankly, because a lot of people don't have any emotional intelligence, or don't have enough emotional intelligence because nobody freaking taught them. Their parents didn't teach them, and their parents' didn't teach them, you know? So, anyway, I just really think that, and I'm not defending racists or bigots or people whose hearts are truly filled with hate and vitriol, but I think that some people really are just afraid of what's next, afraid of what could change, afraid of how their lives could change, and they don't want that because they're happy in their lives. But they don't see how other people aren't happy in their lives and how they could help that, right? So, anyway, this is a little bit of a rant. Certainly a short episode this week, but I wanted to talk to you all about this, and I hope you followed. I hope it made sense. But I wanted to talk to you all about this because I see so many people who I really do think are afraid, and they say awful things sometimes, and they say hateful things, and that's not okay. And like I said, I'm not defending them at all. But sometimes I think that we have to give grace even when people don't deserve it. And so perhaps finding it in ourselves to give a little bit of grace, maybe give them a little bit of education, maybe give them a little bit of space to breathe and to see what's going on. I feel like that could be good for everybody, you know, because it's good for them because maybe they can learn something, and it's good for us because it challenges us to grow too. And if you give them that grace and they don't take advantage of that, well, that's on them. And, you know, you've given them an opportunity. Don't spend your precious energy on people who refuse to change. But if you see a person who has the opportunity for it, if you see fear in that person more than you see hate, maybe just try looking at it that way. Try asking yourself, do I think this person is hateful, or do I think that this person is just afraid? And maybe that could help. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to put a little bit of a silver lining on some things, I suppose, trying to look for ways to love and to forgive and to grow, even in times of challenge, or perhaps especially in times of challenge. But I hope that this is a challenge that can resonate with you, and I hope that this is a challenge that can maybe help you think about others with a little bit more room. So, you know, maybe instead of assuming that a person is horrible, I mean, they might be, but maybe you give them just a little bit of an opportunity to prove themselves as horrible before you truly make that judgment. But in the same way, you're giving a person the opportunity to be challenged and to grow, and you're going to grow from that as well. So anyway, a little bit rambly, a little bit repetitive. I'm sorry, but it's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and I think can be really important. I don't think at all that it's 100% all the time this is the case, but I really do think that some people are more afraid than they are hateful, and that just a little bit of love, a little bit of grace can go a long way some days. So anyway, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this super short episode. I'm moving right now, and so that's part of why this is so short. I'm recording, my microphone's on a box, so that tells you anything. But I really hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope that this inspires you maybe to think about things just a smidge differently. Make sure that you follow us or subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram at I've Been Thinking Pod, and follow us on Twitter at Been Thinking Pod, BEEN Thinking Pod. Check out our Patreon for extra content. We're still on our true crime series right now, which I'm really loving. Loving. So much fun. And I would appreciate so much if you all did check out the Patreon and subscribe, because that allows me to continue working on this project and to hopefully make it even bigger and better. Y'all have such a good week. Again, thank you for listening, and I will talk at you guys next week. Bye, y'all.
Hello, you sentient ball of stardust. My name is Casey Davis. I'm a therapist, and I'm an author of the book How to Keep House While Drowning, where I talk about ways to make it a little bit easier to take care of yourself when you're overwhelmed, stressed, have mental health issues, physical health issues, or maybe you're just in a hard season of life. Maybe you're looking for a place that you can come and listen to some practical advice. This is a podcast for all of the self-help rejects. We're going to talk about skills for survival and self-kindness. And I'm going to leave the pop psychology at the door. I promise not to tell you to meditate or to journal. We're just going to give you some really insightful conversations with hopefully some practical advice. So I don't believe you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I don't want you to just try harder, and I don't believe that laziness exists. So join me over on Struggle Care, where we can find compassionate solutions that help us function a little bit better.
So you've found the perfect home, but high mortgage rates have you second guessing. The Churchill Mortgage team says waiting to buy can be a costly mistake. Try their free 15-minute analysis to see the difference between buying now versus waiting for lower rates. Visit churchillmortgage.com to learn a smarter way to build wealth through home ownership. This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.